Have you ever stopped to think about how we all came to talk and understand each other? It's a question that takes us back to the very roots of human history. In this video, we're going to explore the intriguing quest to find the origins of communication. So keep watching if you want to know what was the first language. The quest for the first language. The challenge to know the first language is a puzzle that has intrigued scholars for centuries. It's a challenging quest because, unlike artifacts and fossils, language doesn't leave a physical trace. The words spoken by our ancient ancestors have vanished without a trace, leaving us with no concrete evidence of the very first language. In the 19th century, the Linguistic Society of Paris recognized the immense challenge of this question. They declared that it was impossible to speculate on the origin of language due to the lack of empirical evidence. In 1866, they even banned any further discussion on the subject, which reflected the scientific understanding of the time. This ban had a significant impact as it shifted the focus of linguistic research towards more tangible aspects of languages that could be studied and understood. Despite this, the curiosity about the first language never faded. Linguists continue to study the structure and evolution of existing languages, hoping to find clues that could lead them back to the linguistic atom, the common ancestor of all languages. They looked for patterns and similarities among diverse languages to reconstruct the features of ancient languages. The ban by the Linguistic Society of Paris may have halted some discussions, but it also sparked a new determination among linguists to find innovative ways to approach the problem. As a result, the study of language has evolved, incorporating insights from anthropology, genetics, and cognitive science to build a more comprehensive understanding of how language might have originated. Today, we continue to search for the roots of our linguistic heritage. While we may never know the exact sounds of the first words spoken, the quest for the first language remains a testament to human curiosity and our desire to understand our own history. Each language we speak today is a living link to our past, carrying echoes of the conversations that have shaped our world. Theories and evidence. When we think about how language began, there are two main ideas that experts have come up with. The first idea is called the continuity theory. This theory says that language didn't just start out of nowhere. It probably came from simpler systems that our ancestors used before there was full-blown language. These systems might have been a mix of sounds and gestures that slowly got more complex over time. The other idea is the discontinuity theory. This one suggests that language is something special that only humans have, and it appeared quite suddenly. It's like a leap from not having language at all to speaking in complex sentences. This could have happened when our brains developed new abilities that let us use language in a way that no other animals can. Now let's talk about where language might have started. Some scientists think that the first languages were spoken in sub-Saharan Africa during a time called the Middle Stone Age. This was a long time ago, tens of thousands of years. They look at tools and other things that people from that time left behind to guess how they might have lived and communicated. Genetic evidence also gives us hints about where language could have started. By looking at the DNA of people living today, scientists can trace back where their ancestors came from. Many signs point to sub-Saharan Africa as the place where our language abilities first evolved. It's like a big family tree, but instead of names, it's made up of genes that pass down through generations. So we have these two theories and some clues from archaeology and genetics. But it's still really hard to say for sure how the first language sounded or what the first word might have been. What we do know is that language is a big part of what makes us human. It lets us share our thoughts, tell stories, and work together in ways that would be impossible without it. And even though we may never find all the answers, the search for the origins of language helps us understand more about ourselves and our place in the natural world. Language evolution. Language, the unique ability that sets humans apart from other animals, likely evolved from the simple calls of our ancestors. These calls were probably not much different from the sounds made by animals today, used to warn of danger or signal the presence of food. Over time, as our ancestors began to form more complex social groups, these calls might have become more varied and structured, turning into a primitive form of communication. As our brains grew larger and more complex, so did our capacity for language. The sounds of the natural world, like the rustling of leaves or the calls of animals, may have inspired early humans to mimic them, creating the first words. These sounds were then used to represent objects and actions in the world around them. This is how onomatopoeic words, which sound like what they describe, could have been some of the first words spoken. Gestures also played a crucial role in the evolution of language. Long before we had words, our ancestors used their hands and bodies to communicate. Pointing, waving, and other simple gestures are still understood across cultures today, hinting at their ancient origins. As our ancestors' ability to make and understand gestures grew, they began to combine these gestures with sounds, creating the first words and sentences. The transition from gestures to spoken words wasn't sudden. It was a gradual process that happened over thousands of years. As early humans began to use tools and live in larger groups, the need for more complex communication grew. Gestures are limited because you need to see them, but spoken words can be heard over distances and don't require direct line of sight. This made spoken language a more effective way to share information and coordinate activities, leading to its dominance over gestures. The language we speak today has deep roots in the past. It's a complex system that evolved from the simple calls and gestures of our ancestors, becoming the rich and varied form of communication we know now. It's a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of the human species. Written language and its significance. The story of written language begins with cuneiform, the earliest documented form of writing. Developed by the ancient Sumerians of Mesopotamia around 3500 BCE, cuneiform started as a system of pictographs. Over time, these pictorial representations became more abstract and evolved into the cuneiform script we recognize today. This script was used to write several languages and played a crucial role in the administration and culture of ancient civilizations. Written language is like a time capsule, preserving the thoughts and knowledge of past societies. It allows us to trace the evolution of language and understand the cultures that used it. Through written records, we can study changes in language over time, revealing how people lived, what they valued, and how they interacted with their world. The significance of written language in tracing linguistic history cannot be overstated. It provides a direct link to our ancestors, offering insights into the development of language that spoken words could never offer. By studying ancient texts, we can piece together the puzzle of our linguistic past and gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity and beauty of human communication. Modern understanding and recent discoveries. In recent times, our understanding of when humans first began to speak has taken a huge leap back in time. New research emerged suggesting that the beginnings of human language could be traced back to 1.6 million years ago. This is a groundbreaking shift from the previous belief that language started around 200,000 years ago. The findings indicate that early humans, possibly in eastern or southern Africa, began using a rudimentary form of language much earlier than we thought. This discovery is based on a combination of archaeological, genetic, neurological, and linguistic evidence. It paints a picture of our ancestors gradually developing the capacity for language as their brains evolved. Particularly, the growth of the brain's Broca's area, which is linked to language production and comprehension, was a significant step in this evolution. However, pinpointing the exact moment language began is still a topic of debate and presents many challenges. Language doesn't leave behind physical evidence like fossils, so researchers have to rely on indirect clues. The ongoing debates revolve around interpreting these clues and filling in the gaps of our knowledge. Despite these challenges, the quest to understand the origins of language continues, offering us fascinating insights into our past and the development of one of our most defining traits as humans. From prehistoric grunts to complex syntax, the evolution of language is a testament to human ingenuity. What are your thoughts on the origins of language? Comment below, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe.